Give it up for Sonia Doing.
You wouldn't normally expect a bizarre story to start out in the hiking trails of Pennsylvania, but that's where I found myself in my 20s because I was kind of thinking about my life and what I wanted to do with my life. And I found that I really was interested in hiking and camping, but I wasn't sure I could do it. And to be honest, I wasn't sure of my own abilities. But there I was on Hawk Mountain Trail. And for those of you who might be familiar with La Luz Trail, as a comparison, La Luz Trail is a 3,000-foot elevation change in 7 miles, so kind of like walking stairs for a while. Hawk Mountain Trail is a 1,000-foot elevation change in 5 miles, so not as bad, but definitely moderately difficult for a newbie hiker like myself. But there I was, testing my abilities, and I'm hiking, and I made it about 10 minutes before I sat down on a boulder. And I'm sitting there deciding, okay, do I go back to my car down the hill, or do I continue up the trail? And then suddenly, a big black animal comes out of the forest. And at first, for a millisecond, I thought it was a bear, but it was actually a huge dog, very furry, very friendly. It came up to me. It was obviously well taken care of, but it didn't have a collar. So it came up to me, I pet it, it was very friendly. And then it walked up to the top of the trail where it turned, and it stopped, and it looked back at me. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll follow this dog until it finds its master, right? It was kind of weird. So I start following the dog, step after step, going uphill, up this mountain. We passed couples, families with kids, with dogs, whole groups of friends coming down the mountain. They pet the dog. They told me, what a beautiful dog you have. And I was like, okay. And he just stayed with me the whole time. He would stay ahead of me. And if he got too far ahead, he'd stop, look back at me like, come on already, come on. We kept going. And then all of a sudden, this huge vista opens up, and we're at the top. And it's this huge valley of trees, and it's gorgeous. I'm here, right? I'm excited. I was so happy. And the dog looks at me, and he just takes off and disappears into the forest. And then I was like, okay. But I was so excited about what I had done, and I think that experience definitely changed me and made me more interested in more adventure. But that's not where the story ends. So a week later, I rented a space at a campground. And this is in New Jersey, near the Appalachian Trail, beautifully forested area again. And let's see, this was the end of summer, so it was kind of starting to get cool, starting to get into fall. The leaves are still green. And the campgrounds are beautiful. They have cabins. They have places for tents. I've actually rented a space for a tent because I'm experimenting with camping on my own, but not really on my own. I've got other people. There's a huge group of yoga people staying in the campgrounds. And that Friday night, we have dinner. I didn't really talk to too many people. But Saturday morning, after breakfast, I go down to my car to get something out. And mind you, the road from the parking lot to the campground is just a gravel road, single, room for a single car. So I'm walking back up to the campgrounds, and from my right, about 10 feet away, walks out a big black animal. And for a millisecond, I thought it was my friend the dog. It was not. And then the next second, I'm thinking, what a beautiful black bear. And actually, it was so beautiful. It was actually raining a little bit that day, and the sun was also shining from behind me, and it was shining on his fur. It was beautiful. And then he stops right in front of me, and he looks at me. So I'm like, oh shit, it's a bear. And then I'm trying to remember, okay, my dad told me what to do when I come across a black bear. So I'm trying to remember, right? He was nervous about me going out on my own. Thank goodness he told me all this. Okay, you have to look big and you have to be noisy. So I pull up my jacket and I'm like, hey, I'm here. Please go away. And the bear is still looking at me and he sits down on the road. That's how scary I was. And then uphill, at the top of the hill, there's a group of yoga people coming down the hill, and they've got a great view of this whole scene unfolding. And I'm still standing there like this. Hey, bear, go away. And finally, the bear stands up, and I'm like, oh, okay, now what? But then he starts slowly walking towards the forest. And being the curious person that I am, I wanted to watch him walk into the forest. So I walk up perpendicular to where he's going, and I look over, and he's gone. Like not even a twig moving in the forest. Whew. So that happened. And then the yoga people came up to me, and they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. We're going to call you the bear lady. I was like, okay, as long as we make sure that we know we're talking about what kind of bear. So that night at dinner, had a great bunch of conversations with the yoga people and got to really process these two events that happened so close together. And to be honest, I have definitely gone hiking and camping a lot since then, because really once you meet a bear, what else can happen? The thing is, though, I don't necessarily believe in animal spirits. But I do believe that these experiences were meant for me, and they definitely had a huge impact on my life. So that, my friends, is my bizarre story.